good morning, and happy Thanksgiving. Today's show is done a little different, a different format than a normal show, but I feel we should treat today a bit special. If you're like me, we can't always be with our family and friends on special holidays, and today is one of those days for me. This makes my second year in a row without being at my mom and dad's house, with my kids, my sisters and their husbands, and their kids, playing ping pong or Texas Hold'em, or maybe an occasional board game. Naturally, we'd all eat too much and doze off watching football, then wake up and eat some more. That's the nice thing about Thanksgiving Day. There's no rush to be somewhere else, no demanding boss, just family, the way it should be. It's funny, and in some ways sad, that when we were kids we never wanted to spend extra time sitting around the table with our grandparents and parents. We were always in a hurry to get back to doing kid things. We didn't have time for one of Grandpa's long stories or listen to the adults talk about this uncle or that aunt, and God forbid they ever uttered the words, "the old days." Our eyes would nearly fall out of our heads. They'd roll back so far. Now, it seems that's all I want to do. The older I get, the more I wish I had taken more time to get to know and understand them better. Maybe even learn something. They had years of experience, but I was too wrapped up in myself to notice. Sometimes the best lessons in life pass us by because we're in too much of a hurry, being ourselves, and we overlook the little things that make life, well, life. Today, do what I can and take the time to enjoy being around your relatives. Take the time to listen. Be that person of character that no one expects you to be. And by all means, have an extra piece of pie. Now, on with the show. This Ferguson, Missouri thing. Ferguson, Missouri. All places on the map. Why Ferguson? Crazy what went on Monday night. I know it's a few days old, but, just got to talk about it. I got to get it off my brain. Let me back up a little bit, just in case people aren't aware of it. There was a grand jury decision that came out to not prosecute a white police officer, Darren Wilson, for shooting an unarmed black teenager, Michael Brown. He died. It was in the course of business. He had previously robbed a convenience store of some Swisher Sweets and something to drink, something like that. And at any rate, it's been blown up for 3-4 since August. The Department of Justice got involved with Eric Holder, and the President Obama weighed in on it. Every kind of pundit talking about it, dragging race into it, and just going bananas. And at any rate, the grand jury came back with a decision of not to prosecute the officer because he had no wrongdoing. 5 different counts that they were weighing, and they came back with he was guilty of nothing. They're not going to prosecute. Fine. Well, right after that, when the verdict was read by the district attorney for the press and all that, the press conference, then President Obama comes on with his address and just turned everything upside down. He lit a match and threw it on a fire is what he did. And let me play the audio for you. I'll break it down a little bit, piece by piece, so you can understand where I'm coming from with this. This guy is toxic, toxic. He needs to go.
As all of you know, a few minutes ago, the grand jury deliberating the death of Michael Brown issued its decision.
No.
It's now come that either way was going to be subject of intense disagreement, not only in Ferguson, but across America. So I just want to say a few words suggesting how we might move forward.
All right, stop. Now, they were not deliberating the Michael Brown death. Flipped it completely around. What they were actually doing was deliberating on whether to charge Darren Wilson. So right there in the front of it, he's already turned this speech toxic because he's painting the victim Michael Brown as the reason for the grand jury deliberation, which was not. It was to find out what they wanted to do to determine the fate of Darren Wilson going forward, whether he was going to be charged or not. Not talking about Michael Brown's death. Well, let's let him continue here.
First and foremost, we are a nation built on the rule of law.
Not anymore, we're not.
And so we need to accept that this decision was the grand jury's to make. There are Americans who agree with it, and there are Americans who are deeply disappointed, even angry. It's an understandable reaction.
Why is it understandable? What? I don't understand that. Why should it be understandable if we're a nation of laws? It's a decision that a grand jury made, and that's the end of it.
But I join Michael's parents in asking anyone who protests this decision to do so peacefully. Let me repeat Michael's father's words. Hurting others or destroying property is not the answer. No matter what the grand jury decides, I do not want my son's death to be in vain. I want it to lead to incredible change, positive change, change that makes the St. Louis region better for everyone. Now, Michael Brown's parents have lost more than anyone.
Boy, he takes long pauses.
We should be honoring their wishes. I also appeal to the law enforcement officials in Ferguson and the region to show care and restraint in managing peaceful protests that may occur.
So show restraint. The police officers need to show restraint for peaceful protesters. These are the same peaceful protesters that you referred to over the last 3 months as they're rioting, breaking into stores, setting things on fire, confronting the cops and the residents of Ferguson that live there. Are those the peaceful protesters you're speaking of? And what's with the restraint? I don't understand that. Okay, please, continue. Continue, King Obama.
Understand, our police officers put their lives on the line for us every single day. They've got a tough job to do, to maintain public safety and hold accountable those who break the law. As they do their jobs in the coming days, they need to work with the community, not against the community, to distinguish the handful of people who may use the grand jury's decision as an excuse for violence, distinguish them from the vast majority who just want their voices heard around legitimate issues in terms of how communities and law enforcement interact.
Don't you love how he sticks his nose into local matters?
Finally,
it's awesome.
We need to recognize that the situation in Ferguson speaks to broader challenges that we still face as a nation. The fact is, in too many parts of this country, a deep distrust exists between law enforcement and communities of color.
Why?
Some of this is the result of the legacy of racial discrimination in this country.
Oh.
And this is tragic because nobody needs good policing more than poor communities with higher crime rates.
And why are those communities poor?
The good news is we know there are things we can do to help. And I've instructed Attorney General Holder to work with cities across the country to help build better relations between communities and law enforcement.
That's fantastic.
That means working with law enforcement officials to make sure their ranks are representative of the communities they serve.
Oh, hold it. Representative of the communities they serve? Meaning what? Now we're going to pick our police officers based on race, based on height, based on what? Gender, gender neutrality, transgenderism. How do you want them to associate more or be more in line with what the community they're protecting? Explain that. When those black communities are saddled with 85% of their crime rate being black males between the ages of 18 and 35, it kind of limits your work pool. So how do you expect them to pass the test to become a police officer? See, everything's about race with this guy. It's crazy. You're supposed to now do what? Change the qualification standards to become a cop, to become a fireman, to become a burger flipper? What does he want?
It means working to train officials so that law enforcement conducts itself in a way that is fair to everybody.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
It means enlisting the community actively on what should be everybody's goal.
Right.
And that is to prevent crime.
Mm-hmm.
And there are good people on all sides of this debate, as well as in both Republican and Democratic parties, that are interested not only in lifting up best practices.
Oh, the big uniter.
Because we know that there are communities who've been able to deal with this in an effective way, but also who are interested in working with this administration and local and state officials to start tackling much-needed criminal justice reform.
Oh, reform. Again, just like immigration.
So those should be the lessons that we draw from these tragic events.
Thank you.
We need to recognize that this is not just an issue for Ferguson.
Yes.
This is an issue for America.
Yes.
We have made enormous progress in race relations over the course of the past several decades.
Well, we did.
I have witnessed that in my own life, and to deny that progress, I think, is to deny America's capacity for change.
Ooh.
But what is also true is that there are still problems, and communities of color aren't just making these problems up.
No, you're helping them along.
Separating that from this particular decision, there are issues in which the law too often feels as if it is being applied in a discriminatory fashion.
Oh, stop it.
I don't think that's the norm. I don't think that's true for the majority of communities.
Yes, you do, or you wouldn't be there
the
talking.
vast majority of law enforcement officials, but these are real issues.
Stop.
And we have
Stop.
to lift them up,
Stop.
not deny them.
I cannot take any more of this
down.
guy. Do any of you remember 2009 when he took office? Then he selected Eric Holder as his attorney general. And the first order of business was to get involved in the Black Panther case in Philadelphia, the voting booth intimidation case that the previous administration had all teed up. The determination was made that they were guilty. All that Eric Holder had to do was issue the verdict. And he blew that. He dropped the case. Then the next thing was about a year later, the Harvard law professor case up there, the police acted stupidly, and then it instigated that beer summit. And then a few years back, it was Trayvon Martin. If I had a son, it would look like Trayvon. And now this. I mean, every time you turn around, it's the color of somebody's skin with this guy. Whatever happened to Martin Luther King and the content of character versus the color of someone's skin? I guess that's gone. So any race relation issues that are going on right now are being egged on, encouraged, and promoted by Barack Obama. Was Eric Holder. Now it's going to be this, is it Susan Lynch? I think her last name is Lynch. Al Sharpton is now an advisor who's been wrong on everything, going as far back as New York City with that case. Tawana Brawley, Duke LaCrosse, this one, Trayvon. Everything he sticks his nose in, he's wrong about. So what do? Well, they make him a part of the media. You know? I don't know. Is he still talking?
How things are going.
Yeah, he's still talking. You know, I don't care. I don't want to listen to him.
There, and I think that...
All right, there. I killed the feed. No more President Barack Obama talking about race. All right, that's enough Barack Obama for one day. Enough for Thanksgiving Day anyway. Let's transition to the troops. We have a lot of guys deployed right now overseas. They've been gone away from their families for longer than any of us have been. And they don't know if they're coming back ever. They don't know if they're going to come back not complete. They don't know if they're going to have health issues, mental issues. Their families are worried sick. Some of them have kids they haven't met yet. So on Thanksgiving Day, I think it'd be fitting to pay tribute to them. If you run into a vet today, buy him a cup of coffee. If you see a homeless vet, take him to your dinner table. Why not? It's the right thing to do. I wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving. I wish I could be with my family. And I hope everyone has a fantastic day, great weekend, wonderful Christmas. God bless you, and I'll leave you with this video for our troops. Take care.
It's very hard to keep a family together when you're halfway across the world. A lot of us are dads, a lot of us are husbands, and we're just counting the days to get home.
It's harder than I thought to be so far away. So I thought I'd write this letter to you and explain. For me it wasn't easy to raise the flag and leave, but I thought that you should know how much you mean to me. I won't be there to see you dance and hear you sing the songs we love. So please be strong, it won't be long till I'm home again. You know you make me proud, 'cause you're the one that I depend upon. And when I return, I promise I'll never leave you alone again.
It's harder than I thought, and you're so far away. So I thought I'd write this letter to you and explain. It was only a moment. I turned my head to wipe my eyes. When I looked again, I saw your smile and said goodbye. Mama says don't worry, 'cause Daddy's brave and he's coming home. But if I could change one thing, I'd never let you go. I want you here to see me dance and sing along to the songs we love. So I'll be strong, it won't be long till you're home again with me.
When it feels too much to take, I want you to know that I'm thinking about you, making plans for when I'm home.
Why aren't you here. I wake up every night. I check the front porch light, making sure it's shining bright. And I'll be there to shine the light, so you can find your way to me. I'm feeling strong, but don't take too long. Please come home to me.
And I'll be there to see you dance and hear you sing the songs I love. So please be strong, it won't be long till I'm home again. I'll be there to see you dance and hear you sing the songs I love. So please be strong, it won't be long till I'm home.